guys, this is Shanu again with InnoKinetic. Welcome back. We've had a lot of people asking us to talk about the sports cars that we deal with. As most of you guys know, we deal with these kind of niche boutique lightweight sports cars. So today we are going to talk about those cars, and frankly we're going to pick our favorites. So I am in kind of a unique position in that I've driven a lot of these boutique cars over the years. I've owned them, I've driven them in the canyons, on the racetrack. I've had a chance to really gauge the differences. So I'm kind of in a unique position, if you will, to be able to kind of judge and gauge them. I've driven lots of cars, from supercars to little sports cars and obviously sedans and so on and so forth. And I've been on track with a lot of these different vehicles. And so it gives me that chance to actually make my comments. And so what we want to do today is really focus on a really tight niche of cars. So we came up with some criteria. We said, all right, it's got to be under 2,500 pounds. It's got to be a sports car. It's got to be compact. We want them to be niche cars. And so we decided to talk about basically the Alfa Romeo 4C being probably the heaviest one in the group, the Vool 05s, the Drakan Spider, which is a car that we created, the BAC Mono, the Lotus Elise and Exige, and then two Ariels, the Atom and the Nomad as well. So our goal today is to really kind of talk about those cars. I mean, you can see them here, on our little gallery wall. Lots of pictures. I love these cars all. That's, straight away I should say, all the cars that we're going to talk about, I enjoy every single one of them. But each car is actually very different from the other. And I hope to try to point out some of those differences so that you get a better feel and flavor for what makes each one special and unique. Because the truth of the matter is, they are unique. And to be honest, because I have driven them all, I'm basically splitting hairs. And that's the key thing. Okay, these are all fun cars. These are all a hoot to drive. But let me see what I can do to try to explain some of those differences for you. So let's start with the Ariel Atom. So my first Atom I bought back in 2007. It was an Atom 2. Then I got myself an Atom 3. In fact, here I am right here on Laguna Seca with an Atom 3. I've driven the Atom V8 even. I've driven, of course, the Spec Race Atoms. We were running the Spec Race series. But what we wanted to talk about today, I should have said this earlier, is cars that you could get on the street as well. So we kind of avoided just pure track day cars in today's discussion. So the Atom is one of those really, really fun special cars. It's a car that I try to encourage every sports car guy. I say you should own or drive one of these at some point in your life because they are so unique and fun. And why do I say that? Well, the Atom is extremely lightweight, okay? It's a 1,400 pound car, and you absolutely can feel that lightweight versus a 2,000 pound car. It's hard to believe, but believe me when I say it is absolutely something you truly notice. The car is extremely tossable. It is super nimble. It has no doors. It has no roof. It has basically a driving experience that's super raw. The car accelerates like a bat out of hell. It's so much fun. Now, having said that, it's a rear engine car, so it actually behaves a bit like an older 911. It understeers going into the corner and oversteers exiting the corner. So it's a car that requires your constant attention if you drive the car at the limit. If you're just tooling around town, anyone can drive the car. It's actually easy to drive. But if you get close to the limits, if you're at 7/10, 8/10, you better bring your A game because the car wants to rotate underneath you. And that's fundamentally why it's such a fun car to drive. The Ariel Nomad, right? It's in the same family, same brand. The Nomad it's a really cool car. It's honestly a car that I absolutely think everyone should own at some point as well. And why do I say that? Because it will go anywhere. You can take it on a dirt road. You can take it on a broken asphalt. You can take it on smooth roads. It has ride height that will clear things that on any one of these other sports cars would do damage to bodywork. And the amazing thing is the car is exceptionally fun to drive, and it is fast, okay? It is easily as fast as all the cars that we're talking about in canyons. And in fact, I might argue on a bumpy canyon, it's actually faster still. It has a supple suspension. It has all the things that you want, honestly, in a fast, fun sports car. So the Nomad, to me, Wonderful, fun car. I would frankly argue that the balance is better than the Atom. The engine powertrain seems to be a little further forward so that we end up with a car that has slightly better balance. You know, it has a full large windshield, it has an overhead cage, so it's a bit more protection, but you still have all that open air experience with a Nomad. So what are some of the things that aren't so great about the car? On the freeway, honestly, it creates a ton of wind noise. It's not necessarily the most beautiful car either. You know, I kind of say it's not going to win any beauty contests. Much like a Bulldog, it's not the prettiest thing on the planet, but it is really cool. And so anyhow, Nomad, I'm a big fan. There's two versions in the States, the Sport and the Tactical. They're both pretty cool. So let's see. Now let's talk about the Lotus Elise and Exige. So obviously a car that I love. It's probably the most complete of all these cars, you know, other than the 4C. The advantage of the Elise Exige, it's manual transmission, of course. It's got a roof, it's got air conditioning, it's got a stereo that kind of works. It's a car that you could actually drive daily. And we have customers and I have friends who drive theirs daily. And so it's that kind of a car. It's a car that I think has great balance. The handling is superb, mid-engine, very benign at the limit. You can tell what it's doing. It doesn't want to spin in every single corner. It's a car you can approach the limits much more safely. I think the car looks good. There's tons of aftermarket support, obviously, for the car. And it's a car that was brought in here as a street legal car, and you don't have to go through any sort of special construction registration process. So some really big advantages to me, you know, with the Elise and the Exige. So then let's talk about the VUHL. So the VUHL 05, a car that is built in North America here in Mexico. Fantastic car. We had an 05 Race of Champions car here, which I drove on the street, took to the track. Great handling car, okay? It handles very similar to an Elise Exige with the mid-engine layout, but it makes a lot more power. And it's lighter. So it actually performs like a Lotus 211. It's exceptional. I would say it's very similar to a Lotus 211, but you can drive it in the US on the street if you get it registered as a kit car. So very cool car, open air, step-in car. So again, it has its own unique flavor to it. So let's see, let's switch to the 4C. The Alfa 4C is a car that certainly the heaviest in this group of cars. It's a car that maybe let some people down, myself included. We thought it may be lighter, maybe a little bit more fun, but the truth is it looks great. It is fun to drive. It's actually very comfortable. It can be set up to handle very well. Paddle shift makes it frankly great in LA traffic. And it's an Alfa, so you know, it's a sexy, cool car. BAC Mono. Okay, BAC Mono is, you know, in this whole group of cars, certainly the most gorgeous in my opinion. But what truly differentiates the BAC Mono, and it's not BAC Mono, it's BAC for Briggs Automotive Company, BAC Mono, that makes this thing singularly the most unique of all of these cars is the fact that it's a Formula car layout. You are sitting as a driver in the center line of this car. The powertrain is mounted longitudinally, so you are beautifully balanced. When you turn into a left turn or a right turn, you are right there in the center, and your sight lines through that corner are the same. It's superb. It's a wonderful experience. Many of you guys know that the McLaren F1 is one of my favorite cars, and that center seating position was the thing that was always so exciting to me about that car. The Mono delivers that in a super lightweight package, extremely responsive, so much fun to drive, extremely fast car, turns blindingly quick lap times, and is extremely rare. I mean, you cannot go anywhere with that car without drawing a crowd. I mean, I've parked that car next to a $1 million Bugatti Veyron, and people turned their backs on the Veyron and came and looked at the Mono. I mean, it's one of those type of cars, an absolute spaceship. The Drakan Spider. So there's a car we developed. What makes that thing really unique? Again, two-seat mid-engine car, longitudinal powertrain. And what is in the powertrain? A V8, American muscle, right? LS3. So it makes gobs of torque. And that singularly, fundamentally differentiates that car from all these other cars. The Drakan's 2,000 pounds, so it weighs about the same as an Elise Exige, but it has 3 times the torque. So I think it looks good. I think it handles superbly. The handling is very similar to an Elise, very benign at the limit, beautiful balance. So that car is a car that obviously, in my opinion, qualifies in this niche as something that's different as well. So what else? Let's see. So we've talked about all the cars. So now we got to do what I said we would do, and that's pick some favorites. I come from a generation where we picked favorites, and sometimes you won and sometimes you lost, okay? Well, that's just what we're going to do today. We're going to pick some winners, and I'm going to tell you why. So what do I think is the best GT of all of these cars? It's the 4C. If you're looking for a car that is a bit more comfortable, that is still fun to drive, but is probably a bit more of a GT, Gran Turismo, I would tell you the Alfa Romeo 4C. That's the car to have. For me, that's what makes that car the most unique in this space. Is it the most fun? No. Is it the best looking? No. But is it good looking? Absolutely. Is it fun to drive? Yes, it is. So I think I give that car my favorite as far as if I have to pick a GT. What is the best looking car? Well, again, aesthetics are very subjective. It's a qualitative thing. I will tell you that not everything is beautiful, in my opinion, but one thing I will say is the BAC Mono is, in this class of car, the single most blindingly beautiful car that's been designed. I think the first generation car and now this new generation car, both extremely beautiful. When you see one in person, you cannot stop staring at, and you look at the details and you'll see more details. You could spend hours on end. When we finished the first Mono that we brought into the country, it was mine. I sat in that car, it was late at night, and it was just a magical feeling. So it is absolutely my favorite car from a styling perspective. No question about it. What do I think is the most versatile of these cars? Right? If you could only have one of these cars, which one can you use to have and use for day-to-day use, take it on trips, go anywhere you want? It's going to be an Elise or an Exige. That's just the way it is. That car, in my opinion, is the single best car in this entire category if I had to pick only one car. Certainly, that's my opinion on that. Based on all of these that I've owned and driven, the Elise, Exige gives you that complete package. You know, they're a lot more readily available. They're easy to register. Just a fun car. You can take it to the track, drive it on the canyons. Okay, what's the best value car from a track day perspective? The Vool. So why do I say that? Well, the Vool has a great balance overall from a price point, from an overall performance perspective. You can register it in certain states as a kit car, and you can take it to the track. And I will tell you, I had that car on track with a whole bunch of 211s, and I will tell you, it was as quick as a 211. It is very fast. Really fun car, and that was with street tires. If I had put on track tires, it could be quicker still. So Vool gets my pick for the best overall value track day car in this group of cars. What do I think is a car that you could drive anywhere fast? The Nomad. I kind of talked to you about that suspension travel, the ground clearance the car has. You could take it on a dirt road, you could take it on broken asphalt, you can take it on a smooth racetrack or a smooth road, and you can have a hoot. And it is fast. It is easily as fast as any of these cars, as I said. It's not the prettiest car, it's probably the ugliest in this group, but I'm telling you, the beauty of that car is in the driving experience. It's a wonderful car. It's certainly something that I think if you drove, you would see how much fun it is. Just a hoot to drive. So now, fun, all right? Just overall fun factor, right? From a driving perspective. This one was a little bit tough for me to pick between, frankly, an Ariel Atom and the Drakan Spider. I think they're both very, very fun to drive. The Ariel is more tossable. You feel that 1,400-pound car versus a 2,000-pound car. That difference, you can feel it in the way it is tossable. The Drakan, on the other hand, has that V8 power that gives you torque wherever you're at. And there's something to be said about that. And for that reason, it depends on what you like. Are you a guy that really likes a tossable, fun car that you can just throw around? That's frankly going to spin almost at any point that you get to the limit. Well, the Atom's going to be the most fun for you. If you're looking for a car that you can put your foot in it, that handles superbly, okay, but has torque anywhere and everywhere, it's the Drakan. So there you have it. I think those are all my picks and why I think these cars are so special. Make sure you leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. What do you think? What are your favorites of these cars that you may have driven? Call us if you want. You know, we're happy to talk you through any of this. But I will say to you, any one of these cars and many of these cars you should try to own or drive at some point. If you are a driving enthusiast, if you love the art of driving and the feeling that you get from driving a car that requires actual input and an analog experience, any one of these cars will deliver that. So my recommendation is get as many as you can, one at a time, or fill your garage full of them if you can. All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you next time.